So, very good morning. I am Sundaram Ganesh from Young India IAS channel, and today we have one of India's greatest writers, R.K. Narayan, with us in our studio. So, the first question, Dr. R.K. Narayan, your stories are well known for its simplicity, yet often it's very different from compared to Fulhurst's work. The character of your novel, Swami and Friends, Swami seemed to dislike school. How does that correlate with your experience?
So, in my childhood, I used to live with my uncle back in Madras. May I? Okay. Back in Madras, and he used to take me to his shops. And one day, when we were walking to his shop, we passed by an orange building with a green gate. My uncle, he told me, Narayana, one day you'll find yourself in that building. At first sight, I hated that building. Absolutely disliked it. And in the case of school, my first experience seemed to be the one that lasted forever, because when I went into my school, what I found out was that for some reason molding clay into spots and cutting paper seemed to be in the work of scholarly people, because I could never do that. Maybe I was ahead in my time as a sculptor, but for some reason the headmaster, he carries a cane with him. He would always hit people with it. Thankfully, I was a late admission and I never got hit. But this was a very defining experience in my life. And I realized that school system in those days, it was very hard on children. Same way, Swami also suffered a lot in his school days.
Thank you. That was a beautiful explanation. How would you say your family affected your final career?
I was born in a family of 8 children and I was my father's second son. My father, he was a headmaster, which obviously it made sense that I would be into English. I read books of Woodhouse, Thomas Hardy, Arthur Conan Doyle, and I read all these books in my childhood. I was a very avid reader. Also, my family often conversed in English in my home, which meant that grammatical errors in my part or my brother's part were never tolerated. My youngest brother, R.K. Lakshman, he often illustrated for my books, and that also has helped me a lot in my career.
Everybody feels writing is very tough. How did you start writing?
In my heart somewhere, the love of books turned into the love of writing. My parents, of course, once I finished my BA, they wanted me to find a job, which meant that I was job searching everywhere. My father's colleagues, some who worked in the railway, one of them was a bank manager. I was sent to each and every one of their houses, but I came back humiliated because they thought the BA degree was not worth the job at all. Finally, around this time, my dad had retired from his career, which meant we moved to a smaller house and it meant less money. I was working on a play called Prince Yasid, which decades later was returned to me as if the story was not good at all. After that time, I moved to Bangalore to live with my grandmother. And my mom, she called me and she said, Narayana, we have found you a job. You have to become a teacher. Don't ruin your father's experience. I said, okay, and I went to become a teacher. Somehow, that initial experience of school days still retained in my heart, and I felt it hard to become a teacher. I moved to 2 more schools, and after that, it was the end of it. I found out that Malgudi and its open skies were all that was there for me.
Lovely. How would you describe your works, the works you have written?
Most of my works are semi-autobiographical. Like I said in the beginning, Swami's school experiences are similar to mine. But the most autobiographical of my works is the work The English Teacher, in which Krishna, the titular character, loses his wife Sushila. I too had lost my wife Rajam, and I had to raise my daughter Hema on my own. I lost her to typhoid. It is an indescribable experience of looking after a child while dealing with typhoid. It felt like I was wearing a suit that was larger than me. It was a very hard experience, and for that reason, I feel like I cannot go over it again.
That was a great interview. So, I came to know that you were nominated to the Rajya Sabha. How did you impact India?
In 1980, I was nominated to the Rajya Sabha, and in my 6-year tenure, I made sure that no school children would ever suffer the fate that I had suffered. I worked on the reducing of books so that children don't have to carry that weight in the bag, and I also worked on restriction of creativity, which is often found in schools. I still find that schools do not do more to encourage creativity. In fact, if I had not found Graham Greene, my very good friend, I wouldn't have been a writer at all. It goes to say that schools only train you for professional jobs and not for things that you like doing. Still, there is much that needs to change in the school system of India.
That was a wonderful interview. Thank you for sharing all the ideas with us. We are so happy to have you in our studio. Thank you so much.